Okay, Portland, welcome to week 118, Justice for Qadira. And I wanted to start out by giving our condolences to the community. We all heard about Darcel, and that is very sad. So I just want to put that out there. I know that people are feeling deep loss because of that. So our heart does go out to them. I also wanted to, before we get started into our regular business, I just wanted to comment a little bit on what the World Athletics came out with the other day, banning the transgender athletes that have gone through male puberty. I want to put a call out to the transgender community, and I just want to say this, and I want to say it here from Portland, because I think people think things like this can't be said here in Portland, and it's not true. I really think that the transgender community should fight for transgender spaces, because that's what works. That's what's worked for men and women, and that's what's going to work for that community. Men and women have had great successes with separate intimate spaces and separate sports, and that is what I think the community honestly needs to thrive. So I say that from the bottom of my heart. I think our politicians are always getting us, whatever community we live in, to be asking for the wrong things because they want to manipulate everybody and make everybody feel bad. I thought long and hard about how this country did integration, and we all know it didn't work because everybody's still fighting to this day. I really believe that we should have created separate spaces for, black and white people to mingle when they were mature enough to do so. So you could have had schools, restaurants, places where people could come who were ready for that, who were going to be able to self-manage in those spaces. And that's exactly what I think could be done in transgender spaces. They just need to be created everywhere, and wherever you are, there should be transgender bathrooms and transgender sports leagues and all kinds of things, because that is where that community can find camaraderie and thrive. So I just want to leave it at that. I don't like what the World Athletics has done, saying that, only people who haven't gone through, who have had their puberty blocked can participate in the professional leagues. Because that's probably going to cause a lot of young people to choose to transition before they should, just so they can be participating in that, and it's not appropriate. So all these big companies, Adidas, Nike, here's my call out to you. Get it going. Get the transgender league going right now. People don't need to be fighting. Just get it going. It's very simple.
Yeah, folks, it never works to force people to try and get along. That doesn't work. Historically, it has never worked. Okay? Like my wife said, people have to be at a certain maturity level, and we are not here on this planet yet to just wholly accept something new and different.
And to have our leaders lord over us and tell us what the right thing to do in that situation is, please, none of those people have the moral high ground. This whole planet, I don't care what country you look at, is just a flaming mess. All of their ideas don't work. Another idea that I've been talking about a lot on Twitter that I just want to put out there, and I know people don't listen to us, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. I've been a caregiver for 20 plus years. Many of you don't know that about me, but that's what I do. I do private caregiving. I've worked in adult foster care and assisted living. I have a completely different view of what we have going on with the homeless situation here in Portland and literally all over the country. What I think we need to be doing with the homeless is we need to be helping people create individualized care plans, and then you hire caregivers to help implement those plans. And that's what happens in the adult foster care system. With the elderly primarily, or disabled. But what we have going on there is people come into homes, they're assigned to foster care homes, then the caregiver, we assess how much that person's needs are per month, and then the caregiver is distributed those funds, and then the caregiver is responsible for implementing the plan. So I think, and this is something my own family has experienced, because I have a brother that's been chronically sometimes homeless, sometimes staying with family, et cetera, et cetera. One of the problems I see us running into all the time as a family is nobody really has the resources or the time to take, because, my family member needs full-time care and full-time supervision. And there's nobody that can really do that, so it becomes a huge burden. I think one way to get a lot of people off the streets is just start recognizing that when family members have to quit jobs and start helping people, they need the funds and the resources to get that done. And I just think that would be a much better way of distributing funds, hiring community caregivers. Citizens could even get involved. You could, if you find somebody on the street that you really want to help, or you look at their, profile, or however they want to implement this, I think it's something we should really explore. Then you could be getting paid to do this work. Instead of all the funds being lost every year, because we've put in over $2 billion into the homeless problem since like 2020, and it's just gotten worse. And the more I look at the problem, the more I realize that the people who in our government, like Ted Wheeler, Tina Kotek, see, they hate homeless people from the bottom of their heart. So, and a lot of people in the community do. So they want to hurt them. They don't want to help them. And the only way we're going to start pulling people off the streets and getting them reinterested back into society is by creating, a place they can come back to, and by giving them a real pathway to get back there. And I think if people were to sit with social workers, because this kind of is what goes on in the adult foster care system with the elderly, a whole plan is created. We get to know the person. We know their likes and dislikes. We know their interests, and then we implement and help them with the activities of daily living with these plans. Now, the system is really imperfect because, again, the focus on this planet is not taking care of people. The focus on this planet is saving money, taking care of money, literally. People aren't seen as something that matters or is valued or that's even living, really. When your public officials look out, they see dollars, pieces of paper laying on the road. They don't care if they shit on you or bury you or whatever. But my mind, I see something different. When I look out and I see the homeless population, when I think about the troubles I've had with my own family members, like a lot of people, I think, need, and not just homeless people, a lot of people need private caregivers. And I think that I really believe we should have a national program similar to the military, because I think everybody should be trained to care for somebody. And I think everybody should understand what goes into that, because everybody is going to need care at some point in their life. I also think it would be a real boon to the community if we really started targeting these funds and tying them directly to people, because that's the way, if a family has somebody who's been chronically homeless and they qualify for funds, instead of just throwing it all into this big pot with pods and tents and nonsense, this is what our leaders do, because they're not leaders. They don't have any good ideas. But if you have somebody like in the adult foster care system, if somebody is not being taken care of, they go directly back to the provider. They go directly back to the caregivers, and then you know where the money went. Okay, so it's not this just constant drain, but that's what our public officials want, because they like stealing from the public, okay? And I'm sure they are telling you, when we're out here talking, that we're just stupid and we don't know anything, and that's, everybody knows something, first of all. Don't let your public officials tell you that they know better, because these people are not educated in leadership. They don't know anything about leadership. That's why everywhere you look, here we live in the modern world, yet most countries are turning into hellholes. Here in America, that's what we've got going on. So I just think we need to change the focus. And I'm also really tired, I will say, as a taxpayer, of just these funds just disappear. So if you're going to make plans for people and suggestions for people, you have to care about people. And I'll tell you right now, as a parent, I'm not going to put my kid outside in a pod or a tent and then just expect them to fend for themselves. I'm going to give them guidance. I'm going to try to work with them on things things that they can do so they can be successful in the world, and that's what everybody needs. So I'm not saying this is the simple solution. I'm just saying it's the solution where we can actually track where the funds are going, and also you don't got to build a bunch of new housing, okay? Because there are people in this community, maybe they've got a room in their house and they're willing to help rehabilitate a homeless person and care for them and help them get back to living their lives, and they could be housed in their home if the person agrees. So our public officials, again, they just like to make suggestions that make things worse, and then they steal all of our money and our goodwill while they are implementing this stuff. So it is a serious problem, and I hope people take my suggestions to heart. I mean, I'm out there talking about it. I get out on social media. I'm trying to interface with people in the community, but there is, this round rejection of, because of what happened to our daughter and this protest and everything, there's just so much anger. Like, I don't even feel like the ideas are heard. But anyway, that is what I believe, the solution is, really. You have to really, really care about people. You got to ask them their name. You got to ask them how they ended up homeless. You need to dig into their specific problems, and then you need to connect them with someone who can be there to help them through the day. And you can, like I said, you can come up with all kinds of different housing options like that. You can open up more foster cares. You can have people living with family. I don't know. You work with them, but if the funds are tied to the person and their specific needs, whatever they are, I think every homeless person should be allowed to help construct their plan, because that makes people want to actually do things when they participate in their care. So that's my idea. I don't think Wheeler or Kotek's going to listen to it because they want to steal your money every year. And, just having a tent city, that's a good way to just kind of steal your money every year, and they just still say, oh, I need more and more for the tent city. But the thing is Portland is not a tent city, so we don't want to create housing options that are not appropriate. Nobody should have to go live in a tent city or a pod. We need to reintegrate people back into our communities, because that's how you create safe communities. You care about people.
Folks, here it is. We have been practicing not taking care of people for a very long time, and now people kind of look like a burden, okay? They not only look like a burden, they feel like a burden, And you don't want to help a burden, you don't want to feed a burden.
Right.
You don't want to take care of a burden. You want to get rid of a burden, and that's what we have created on this planet. We've created this attitude, and it's a global attitude. It's not just here. We've created this attitude that it's okay to just get rid of people because they are a burden.
Yeah, like if you can't figure it out, we want you gone. And some people we know, because I think we do upwards of 50 to 70 million abortions a year on planet Earth, so it's just like, get rid of it before it even comes, right? Because we know it's a problem.
There's not too many people on this planet. There's just too many people that don't care about other people on this planet.
And we haven't made caregiving a focus. I mean, I really think caregiving needs to be a focus, and it would be a great option for kids who aren't interested in going on to college. I think a 4-year caregiving program where you're helping care for people right out of high school, so everybody's helping. Because another issue that I think what I'm seeing really in the public is something that caregivers actually deal with, something I've dealt with, which is called caregiver burnout. So people are tired of people coming to them and saying, these people need help, these people need help. And when you half-ass the help, like we're doing, like throwing somebody in a tent or on the side of the road, they never get self-sufficient. So you just continue to be angry at them because
they remain a burden.
They remain a burden because you're not working to make them not a burden. So this is why I'm really, really focused on this idea for individualized plans. Like I said, Wheeler and Kotek, they're just going to keep ignoring me because they think it's their right to do whatever they want with this society. community, and what's being implemented here in Portland is an agenda. One of the things I'm also noticing, because me and my husband are out here alone, as you guys see, none of the protest community wants anything to do with us, really. I've really learned that there are a lot of agitators in this community that are purposely trying to make it so nothing gets solved because they make money off the problem.
Yeah, there's a lot of money to be made off problems. That's the reason why the war machine is going again, folks.
Exactly.
It's an industrial complex. It's to make money. It's not for any other reason.
They don't want to actually sit down and solve the problems because, see, then they can't come to you and have endless requests for money. And the thing is since we've created a government that has a pipeline into everyone's pocket, they're completely out of control.
And now
the only way you're going to turn it around is start asking them, why they're not interested in solutions.
Folks, and they want them even worse than the problem, okay, with these CBDCs, with the central bank digital currencies. They want to make it more easy to reach their hand into your pocket, especially when you are not behaving the way they want you to. Folks, that is totalitarianism.
It very much is.
That is totalitarianism.
Because they will decide, what you're going to get because they can just turn off your bank account. It's like turning you off.
We are free will, sovereign, free will beings. Built-in authority. The authority that the people that are guiding us are using. It is your authority. It is our authority. When do we start standing up and saying, no, you're not using my authority anymore?
Now, I also want to mention to everybody that next Friday we will be going to court at 8:30. We have been criminally cited twice for doing this. This is how badly they don't want change. They literally want to crucify me and my husband for coming down here and doing this, for standing up for our daughter. They're very angry that we documented this crime and the cover-up of this crime. They're very angry that our daughter lived. Okay, there's a lot of things going on here because there is actual evil in this state. And I want to say one more thing. I think we saw the evil. We're seeing the evil with this new bill where they're going to let kids access pills and surgery they shouldn't be accessing before the age of consent. I want to say again, I don't know exactly where the medical community thought it was okay to roll back the age of consent like a Walmart special, but this is not okay. Children are children. They cannot consent. So I hope anybody that's performing, surgeries and doing this to kids, you're not okay in my book. And I do hope you are held accountable, each and every one of you, because I've been lied to by a doctor before about serious issues. And it's not okay to do to somebody. The medical community has become very abusive, so I call on them to stop that. You're supposed to do no harm, okay? And it bothers me that the age of consent is being rolled back like this. I'm hearing of kids being put on these puberty blockers at 9 years old. I realize parents want to help with this condition, but we have got to also recognize that just like you're not going to give your kid, a cup of vodka, you are also going to counsel them, to wait for the appropriate age and time to make decisions that will affect the rest of their life. And that's just my position on it. And honestly, I think, again, with the trans community, I think you guys are really being manipulated to fight for things that don't serve you. And that's my opinion, because you need to watch out. The people in charge don't care about you. And everybody needs to understand that. The people in charge don't care about you. And you should see that from their policies. It's one bad policy after another. They don't care really what happens. They've messed everything up. I don't know why we keep going back to them for help.
Folks, they did that on purpose. The best way, if people are taking care of themselves, why do they need a government? So it makes sense to me that the government would actually create problems that they then have to tell you that you need to pay out to them to solve them.
Yeah, it's like, I could see why we need a government, to work out foreign affairs, although since everybody's suggestion is always war, that's beginning to be a complete problem as well. But we should be able to do things without people being hurt. So that should be your indication that somebody's not a leader, because when people aren't leaders, everyone around them gets hurt because they don't care about people.
Yeah, because they're not responsible. Okay, and that's what we need to start doing with ourselves here on this planet. We need to start being responsible. We need to start holding ourselves and each other accountable, and that is not happening.
I watched, I saw a lady on Twitter the other day. She made a comment that people were trying to express their frustration with this bill that's going through that would allow surgeries for minors, and she was saying that, hey, they're blocking people, they're shutting comments down, we should just burn it all down. I want to tell you that me and my husband had that experience. We had that experience for the first time, really, after our daughter was abused, and they went full force with this cover-up and just all this abuse to our family. And it is very shocking when you find out that your government really, literally, seriously does not care about you. Because when they start blocking you and shutting you down, and they're not even going to respond to your concerns, I know how frustrating that can be. But also, I want to tell people, burning things down and violent protests, that's what they want, because then they can exert the moral authority over you. So I implore you not to give them that.
Not only that, folks, it makes it way easier for them to make a case that it is fine to get rid of you and you belong here.
So what I would say to people, if you have concerns about what's going on in your community, get out there and do something more like this and communicate those concerns, without being violent. The more people listen to you, maybe, you'll be able to get on board. But I think if more people got out in the community and started trying to communicate things, we would actually start finding ways to get along. And that's primarily what me and my husband would like to see people doing, because that's just a better thing for people to be doing.
It's really the more efficient way to run society or human society on this planet. But the people in power, they don't want that to be the case, because that means that they can't steal from you anymore.
It's like when you suggest the simple solutions, they don't want that. Like with the World Athletics League, why are they? You don't have to be excluding anybody. Create something for them that is just as good as what the men and women have. I mean, why not make it simple? Then
Yes.
You don't have to do all these tests and all these things and spy on people when they're trying to do sports and stuff. You just create spaces for them and treat them like they matter. It's not that hard.
Separate but equal is actually a good way.
It's not a
for
terrible way to go.
a developing race of beings who hasn't reached the age of spiritual maturity to get along. Separate but equal.
Right, just create more spaces.
Because there's plenty of space on this planet, folks. There is a lot of space on this planet that is not being used. And, if we were using it in a productive manner, it wouldn't be a big deal for us to be spreading out into society, spreading out onto the planet. But what we are doing is we are being irresponsible, and we are destroying every place where we live.
I also have heard people say, it's not feasible to create trans prisons, trans locker rooms, all these things. Yeah, it is. I don't want to hear about the money, because I'd rather stop the arguments, in that whole arena, and I'd rather people spend more time when they are collectively in collective spaces learning how to get along, not arguing about these little issues that are easily solvable.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
I just hate the fighting. I said I hate the fighting.
Why fight?
Yeah.
We all get along.
Yeah, we can all get along. We should, right?
We all have the capacity. I mean, I'm no special than anybody else.
Absolutely.
Everybody has the same capability of being kind.
Amen.
And all those things.
Amen.
Go along with it
Absolutely.
Amen.
in that nature.
Right.
Amen.
They were born with it.
Right.
Yeah, we can.
Choose to use negativity
Yeah,
as a platform.
absolutely.
But that's what they're being taught.
Their agenda.
Would you
Yes,
like to
that's
speak
what
for
they're
a
being
second
taught.
or no?
That's what we're-
Would you like to speak for a second? No, he said no. Well, oh, okay. Well, if you ever change your mind, what's your name?
Ricky.
Nice to meet you, Ricky.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm Renee. I'm Renee. That's my
Yeah.
wife, Corella.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. I
We're down
agree
here
with you
every Friday.
completely.
We're just out here talking.
Yeah,
trying
I
to get
totally.
things
I
cleaned
hear
up
what
here.
you're saying.
Thank you very much for stopping.
I mean, why is it so hard to just not fight?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should not be hard.
I heard you say this right.
Yeah.
You said about simple solutions.
Right.
They don't want.
Right.
Oh.
Because they want to keep it complicated to that negative platform.
Right.
They want to go up to their high horses.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's what makes the most money, too.
Yep.
You know?
It's all about that dollar.
It's
People
all about
fighting,
that dollar. You just gotta follow
people
the money.
fighting that creates a cash flow. Yeah. And
Attract a crowd with the crowd.
exactly.
Attract crowd.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. And that's one of the reasons we never attract a crowd, because we're not down here trying to get people to fight. So,
right.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why I think we are really rejected by the protest community, because we're not down here fighting. We're trying to actually, like, give some solutions.
Oh, hey. How's it going?
Science.
Hey, Mom. Yes, I did. Oh, my God, that book was, yes, 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 absolutely. No, that was such a good book. I'm going to read more of his work, actually, so thank you for introducing me to him. Yes.
I was thinking something was going.
Oh, and girl, I was going to
that's
say,
okay.
I bet that was a true story, because it's Portland.
Don't worry.
Heck
It'll
yeah.
come back to you.
It's gone.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry,
It's
because
okay.
she gave me a book to read.
Like I said, I'm not special than anybody else.
No, I get you. I get you, and I feel like there's a better way to foster respect. That our leaders aren't. It's all about money to them, so they don't want to create the space for people to be different. They don't want to create the spaces for people to thrive.
Well, think about this. In psychiatry, personality disorders.
Right.
People that are not with the order of the mainstream
Right.
are considered disorderly
Right.
and narcissistic or schizoid
Right.
or borderline. Or
Right.
They create these horrible labels
Right.
for people,
Right.
and then they stick them on them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Stigmatized.
Never come off.
Right.
Right.
And then they downgrade. They treat denigrate. I mean.
Yeah, they're sticking it on people to, like the Scarlet Letter, or the Jewish thing in.
Right.
It's happening in our it's really happening in our marginalized communities, and when you make suggestions to help the marginalized communities, real ones, they
We're
make
just out here
ones that
just
don't help.
telling it like it is,
and then
you know what
they
I'm
get
saying?
everybody kind of
It's
on board
important,
with that, with
'cause I
their
don't see anybody
morality
else
piece,
doing it, so.
and it never works.
I thought about that.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that's a nightmare. Yeah.
Total of 900. Total if they fill it up, because they're not going to fill it up.
Right.
That could be helped out of the, what, 5,000?
We're trying to present practical solutions for stuff.
Yeah, he's talking about the camps here, the camp situation, and these tent cities they want to put up. They're not even going to put it. They're not even suggesting that there's space for everybody that's homeless. My husband was just doing some simple math. We were talking about what happened with Measure 110. $300 million has basically gone missing. You know, you could have tied. What was the math you did, honey? You tell me.
For $5,000 a month, right? You could get 5,000 people. For $300 million, you could get 5,000 people taken care of.
You could presumably tie that much money to each individual if you give them a caregiver, even if it's their own family member, and you tie, you know, the progress of the plan to the funds and the person who's supposed to be implementing it, you're going to get a lot more done.
That's a full year
Social
service.
Security disability. Everybody's individually taken care of.
Yes.
You apply, you get classified.
Yes.
Benefits.
In their system. I'm on Social Security.
Yes.
So I know it's very individual.
Yes.
Send me a letter, it's not for my mom.
Yes.
You know what I mean? No
Yes.
that read it.
Well, why can't we treat the homeless problem like
Even
that?
in Social Security.
Interesting perspective.
Sure.
Unfortunately, because of how marginalized communities are treated, you have to fight back. But you're being silenced when you don't. And by encouraging other people to treat the government with respect or to go through a respectful approach, unfortunately, you're silencing black and brown voices. You're silencing trans voices. You're silencing houseless people. You have to fight back because there's nothing else you can do.
Well, we're fighting back. We've been doing this.
Unfortunately, this isn't fighting back. This
Well, it is. It is fighting back because we've filed a lot of paperwork. We've done a lot. I don't think, see, I mean, you'd have to get to know us and know who we are, and this is my whole point. You don't really know who we are. Well, because the media won't cover me, but I mean, that doesn't mean that I don't exist. We have YouTubes, we have an Instagram, we have a Facebook, we have a lot. We've been out, I mean, we've been fighting for our daughter for 16 years. We're being suppressed. I mean, when you talk about black and brown voices being suppressed, you're looking at it.
Our daughter was the, no, we are definitely telling people to fight.
No,
we're telling not to be violent.
Burn buildings down.
Don't be violent. Because that's not productive.
No, because that's what the rich people want you to do. We need these buildings. Yeah, but I'm telling you, we need a new strategy.
They were peacefully protesting.
We need a new strategy because look at all the buildings that got burned down in 2020, and guess what happened? Nothing.
No, it wasn't.
No, there was no movement. Nobody got any real help. I mean,
yeah, we didn't.
Here I am, a person of color in this city. You guys did your whole Black Lives Matter thing. My daughter is black. She doesn't matter. This has been going on for the 2 white people burned her up in my neighborhood. They abused her. Sexually abused her, all this other stuff happened around it, and nobody cares. I get where you're coming from. Yeah, but I'm telling you, you need to fight smart. You need to have strategy. Because these people come at you and they tell you they know morally the way to go.
But like the only way that the government will stop is by people coming together and disagreeing and saying we're not.
Yeah, but that doesn't have to be violent.
It doesn't have to be violent.
That does not have to be violent.
Well, because I don't think it's effective.
Because that's not productive.
I don't think it's effective. I think we need
us coming together and
I mean, we
people
need
coming
the
together and being.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no such thing as collateral damage. Every life matters.
I think there is a way to fight for spaces for everybody, because the fact of the matter is, on planet Earth today, we are not suffering from a lack of space. We are suffering from a lack of compassion. So marginalized groups, first of all, I think that they have been historically, basically pushed into fighting for things that do not serve them. That's part of the problem. So when you're fighting for something that doesn't serve you, then you're fighting the public. And that's what I've been talking about with, what was that? What doesn't serve them? I don't think that physical fighting helps. Like the people who hurt my daughter, I could have go killed them, but what's the point? Okay.
So, you guys both, obviously some shit went down with your daughter. I'm so sorry that happened. Sure. So, obviously some shit went down with your daughter, and I'm so sorry that happened. But for the rest of the world, what we're needing to do right now is fucking fight. We're needing to fucking burn down a building. We're needing to scream. We're needing to write shit. We're needing to...
Respect doesn't change government officials. They don't care about respect. They don't respect us, so mutual respect isn't...
Kids were getting shot in the face with fucking rubber bullets.
Like these protests, like peaceful protesting clearly hasn't done much, because that's always been a tactic, and that's what the government encourages because they don't want to see real change. The real change happens when the government is affected and they start losing money and their property starts being damaged.
Losing money means fucking up their buildings.
Okay, so, really quick, this is not their property. This belongs to the people.
This is your property.
This
is your property.
This building actually belongs to you. Actually,
it does belong to you.
It actually belongs to you. So
this is your building.
They want you to understand. They don't want you to understand that this is your stuff. They want you to keep on thinking it is our stuff.
It is your stuff.
Absolutely our stuff.
No, what I'm saying is we need to change what's going on in these buildings.
We need to change the understanding.
I do think, me too, absolutely. But I just don't want to build I don't want to burn everything down.
But that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen without an agreement, and we're not coming together and talking about.
Those people because they don't care about us.
Okay, no, but I'm talking about us. If we can't agree, we're never going to change what's going on there.
I think, and that's one of the things I was just talking about today, is public officials. When we look at what happened, like with integration in the United States, I don't think we did it the right way. I think there was a better way to get it done, where we'd be in a better place now. That's really honestly what I believe with the LGBTQ community. I think that they should be working much harder to have their own spaces, because there's way too much arguing, because there's so much.
Because forcing people to be together is dangerous.
Yes.
Black people were actually hurt by the Civil Rights Act of 1962, okay?
But no. it is you don't want people who cannot self-manage in your spaces. This is not served. This is why black people started going back and wanting black schools and things like that, because they weren't getting served. I would rather people come to it slowly.
So what you're saying right now is you don't give a flying fuck about houseless people. You don't want them in your space. No, that's fucking horrible. No. Let me say my perspective.
Okay, let her say her
That's
perspective.
so sad. Do you realize that you're speaking to a mic? You're in fucking downtown Portland. How many people are down here that are houseless and need help, and you just said that? That's silencing people. No, that's not showing that you care. That's showing you silencing them.
I don't want to pair them with somebody.
You have to keep fighting if you want a change to be made.
I don't want to pair a homeless person with somebody who's going to hurt them. I don't want to pair. No, I don't want to segregate.
No.
I want to create more spaces.
We need separate but equal spaces.
In some areas, yes, we're going to need separate but equal spaces. I mean, if you want to make things work.
If you want to walk around and you want people to be fighting, you will force them to be together.
Not fighting with you. I want you to have everything you need to be happy and healthy.
If you want people to continue fighting, you will force them to be together. And that's what happened with integration.
Sure did. It just didn't work.
It did not improve.
We're still fighting right now in 2023.
The condition of black people to have them integrated into white society, okay?
Not the way we did it. Not the way we did it. We should have been working with the newer generation. They were ready, and they would have chosen to go into those spaces, and they would have been able to be together just fine, not harming one another. Some people will never get there. I had an old white man call me a cunt just on Wednesday. He is never going to be able to be really in a space with people that is integrated, because he just can't manage. So I mean, I understand these
it's okay.
people were upset with us. I do not advocate for pushing people apart. I think that everybody needs their appropriate spaces with individualized care plans. That's what I really need. Otherwise, we're just going to keep getting anger. And you can be angry at somebody who doesn't like you, but guess what? That doesn't matter. They're still not going to like you. So I'd rather you two are kept apart appropriately, but get the things you need, than to watch the fighting. Because it's not helpful. Like these girls, or I'm not sure how they identify, walked off. What did that solve? I wasn't trying to hurt them. I was just trying to say I think this is a better way to do something. You know, if you don't want the better way, don't choose the better way. But when you're getting when you're being marginalized and beaten and treated like crap because you're not advocating for your own space where you can be safe, well, what is anybody supposed to do? There are no plans. Nobody's even interested in caring for people individually. So how can that even be policed? It can't. So I'm just trying to come up with solutions that work. The main reason we're out here, though, is my daughter. And what's really interesting is these two girls come up here, or these two people come up here, and there's this big burn on this sign. Didn't even faze them. They don't even care. They say they care about a marginalized community, but they come up to a woman of color and a man of color and then tell us that we're the problem and sally forth down the street. And that's exactly the problem here in Portland. You know, there's a lot of fake protest movements, and they don't care about people. Like, they didn't care about me, but I'm supposed to care about them. And I am caring about them. I do care. I care about everybody here. I don't want to see the homeless people on the streets, and I don't want to see them in pods or tents. I think that's outrageous. They didn't even stay long enough to listen to what I had to say, because I'm nobody to them. Me and my husband were nobody. We're just black people down on the corner, and they come up to us and tell us they need to burn down everything here where I live so they can have their way. And they don't want to hear what I have to say about it. I don't want to see all this burned down so people can get their way. That is immature. If you need to burn down a city, you think that's going to get you your way, well, I would ask you to leave, okay, at that point, because that means you can't self-manage in any area, with anybody. So, I mean, I'm tired of all the violence. That's why people make fun of me and my husband, because we're pacifists, okay? We didn't go kill the people that hurt our daughter. We're not trying to incite violence towards the government to solve this problem. So guess what? Everybody says to us, you're getting nothing done. No, you're getting nothing done because you don't support racism. You don't even want this story covered in the papers. You don't care. You know, because you hear us down here and we take some positions on things that maybe you don't necessarily agree with. So then on top of that, you don't care about how we've been victimized or what happened to our daughter. How does that solve anything?
Folks, regardless though, we're going to keep on getting out here and we're going to keep on voicing and expressing our opinion. We hope other people would do this.
Yeah, I think it would be very helpful.
Happen, folks. This is what needs to happen. We don't need to be fighting in the streets.
I have another solution for everybody that doesn't like Drag Queen Story Hour. Start your own story hour. Guess what? Kids want to be read to. Parents don't read to kids anymore. It's a huge problem. You know, my mom was a reading friend over there at Maplewood. Kids were just hungry for anybody to read to them. So, you know, there are better solutions than showing up and being violent towards somebody. Start your own thing and then see if it takes out. Maybe it takes off. Maybe if parents start showing up at libraries and reading to kids, kids will show up for that. You don't have to be violent to make your point. That is my point. And that is what we are trying to model here at this protest. We experience serious injustice and we don't choose violence to solve it. When you grow up and you're an adult and you're in a relationship or a marriage, me and my husband have been together for 28 years, you solve problems like by talking. And that takes a tremendous amount of time, effort, and work. And it's the same thing with the homeless community. They want to do these one-size-fits-all solutions when people need real assistance and real help. So, you know, I mean, we continue to get down here to express that because me and my husband, we've had a lot of behind-the-scenes dealings with your government. They just pretend they want you to not engage with us, and they treat us this way. They have the media treating us this way. They have the citizens treating us this way. You know why? It's to keep you stagnant. They don't want you to succeed. They just want to implement their agenda, which is tearing the city down.
And getting rid of people. That's right. They want to get rid of as many of you as possible. And in short order. Short order.
And I would encourage people to do some soul searching because, like I said, I've been out there talking to a lot of people. Ask yourself, do you want people to be helped, or are you hostile towards people? Are you angry at people? Do you want the homeless people to suffer? Because I'm getting these comments on Twitter. No, you want them to be in a dirt pit. You want them to live in a tent. You don't want them to ever get anything better. See, that's the problem. We keep allocating funds towards people that we don't actually want them to succeed. Okay? And that is my issue. When I look at people, because I believe life is the value, that is me and my husband's philosophy, I'm always trying to figure out a way to help them, not hurt them. You know, because that's all I've ever gotten from the government is being hurt. And it's not helpful. So,
folks, that's our story. We're sticking to it.
I also hate how people like to shove words down me and my husband's throat. I mean, these people walked off saying, I want people segregated. No, I want people cared for. But they weren't even willing to stand here and have that conversation because at the end of the day, they don't really want anybody cared for. A lot of people just want to burn everything down.
And I understand
it's
you're
not
frustrated.
Helpful.
You're frustrated. You're angry. I understand. My wife and I, we understand that feeling. Okay? We know what it means to be frustrated. We know what it means to be angry. Trust me, we have wanted to burn down our neighborhood, our community.
Sure.
We have wanted to kill people.
We
have wanted to do that. But it is more mature to not do that. It is more productive to not do that. Okay? It is more productive to get out here and express yourself and try to fix things.
You know, and if more people, it's funny because people say we're not getting anything done, and it's because we don't have any community support. It's not because pacifism doesn't work. It's because we don't have any community support. The fact of the matter is this crime against our daughter is probably the most well-documented cover-up in American history. But every single news outlet and politician is ignoring it. One of the things me and my husband did repository that we have, because we've had a lot of communications with the leadership, and they're just lying to all of you.
Yeah, these people
They're lying
did so
to you.
many illegal things, it would blow your mind. And they did it with disdain and disregard for the life of a child.
As a matter of fact, when this rally ends, I am going to dedicate a song to our government, because we were going to open up with Rally, but we'll close with it, because I always think of my government officials every time I hear this song. So, we're going to get ready. We're going to get ready to pack it in. We hope more people will actually look into this. Now, me and my husband don't have a lot of money, so you're not going to find a glossy website. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. If you Google Justice for Qadira, you can find information. But we have regular jobs, we have regular lives. We don't take donations, so we run this thing on a shoestring budget. It is difficult to communicate everything that happened here, but the information's out there if you want it. There's also a book. So, it's not like you can't figure out, what our background is or what actually happened here. And I hope more people stop judging and start taking some time to actually listen to us and look into what happened to us. And you would think after the 2020 protests, that wouldn't be such a huge feat.
But sadly, folks, this is our circumstance. So here we are. We're going to leave you with this, because this is what we want you to finally understand, okay? You are what is valuable, okay? You, not money, not gold or silver, not some cryptocurrency. It's you that is actually what is valuable. The people in these buildings don't want you to understand that. They don't want you to know that you are actually, literally, what is valuable.
They also don't want you to know that there are any solutions, and they don't want you to entertain any solutions, because they have their agenda. But there is some hope here, and there are solutions that can be employed to help people. Okay, so we're going to end with our mantra, and then we're going to dedicate our song to our government, and then we're going to pack it in and go home, and we'll see what happens next week. We have to show up for our criminal citation for trying to be good community members and communicate something, and we'll see what the government does with that, because all I can say to the people that were here earlier getting upset, you're not going to be protesting anything if they take away free speech, and that is what they are trying to do next Friday. So let's see if they do it.
So here it goes, folks. I am the value.
I am the value.
You are the value.
You are the value.
We are the value.
We are the value. I am the value. You are the value. We are the value. I am the value. You are the value. We are the value. I am the value. You are the value. We are the value.
Folks, remember that. Okay? Embrace that understanding. It's the only way that we're going to save anybody on this planet.
I also want to say thank you to Jesus, because just this morning I was praying about this weather, and what a blessing. It's not raining. It's amazing to me. It's like I was getting up, getting dressed, thinking this was going to be like such a hard rally to get through, and everything just cleared up. So again, I'm going to give the glory to Jesus on that one. And we will see you next week for week 119.
119,
119, hopefully. We'll see this, whatever they got going on in the criminal complaint, it should just be dismissed, because if talking is a crime, this country is over. And that affects every protest group here. If me and my husband are imprisoned or fined for doing this, free speech is over. So I hope everybody's paying attention. Thank you, Portland, and God bless.
Thank you, Portland.
Wait for it. We're going to play our song. It's going to be fun.
Here I go.
Yep, cue it up.
No, I can't play it. I can't play it over there.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. You got to turn that off. Here, I'll take the umbrella.
I smoke you joints in the morning. I smoke you joints in the morning.